Hi there, so we're going to be talking about the nitrogen cycle today. This is something that's really important to understand and something that is often overlooked by first-time aquarists. Can't tell you how many times I've been in line at my local fish store and seen the little boy or girl who's been crying for 2 hours because they came home and their fish was dead, and now mommy and daddy are there to buy them a new fish to put in the toxic water again, because they don't understand that you can't just add fish to water and everything's going to be okay. There's a cycle to it. So here we have the fish who gives off ammonia. So do your plants, especially if they're deteriorating or melting in the water. So they get off ammonia, and you need to have beneficial bacteria in there to change ammonia into nitrite. That beneficial bacteria will then turn nitrite into nitrate, and if you don't do this, you're going to be there with your fish in a bucket. So there's many ways to establish beneficial bacteria, and I'm going to cover today when you already have fish in your tank. I've got 2 tanks here that are cycling again for one reason for each. This one we've been playing around with slate. We've never really used it before. This stuff is super thin, as you can see. That's actually the thickest piece in there. Most of them are about like that thick, like sheets of paper. So we stirred it up quite a bit. Now I'm not sure, because we keep this tank, all our tanks, really clean, that it was food we stirred up and waste, or perhaps we didn't clean this gravel very well. It could even be that, being cichlids, they're kicking up a lot of sand, spitting it over here. Anyways, we did this last night. The tank was completely clouded over. So after it sucked for a while, the HOB system on the back had done its work for a while. We knew that it was contaminated with whatever was floating around in the water. So we cleaned it out. We did about a 25% water change. And we added, yesterday we had been given a Fluval Q2, I believe it's called, air pump. Yeah, Fluval Q2 air pump for 50 to 160 US gallons. If you deal with liters, it's 190 to 600 liters. It's got an adjustment on the front there. It's really dark in my stand area there. I don't think you can see it that well with the lighting I have. And here we are, right there's a dial, so you can easily control from there how much air is going through everything, and it's really fun. Like, it's nice. This I never did think there was a benefit to paying more money for an air pump, because as long as you pump air, I don't care. But this, yeah, I would definitely spend the extra on it if I had to. So we've got that set up to a 2-way splitter. They're both running on full right now. So my air stone and then my do-it-yourself air supplied water filter are running 80 gallons worth of air each, approximately. And so I've got it split in 2. And I like that because I can turn it down later on once this is fully cycled, and I can put more pressure to the air stone to give a little more circulation for my mirrorfish. But again, this is about the nitrogen cycle. So most of your beneficial bacteria is going to build up in here, in your substrate. And second to your substrate is going to be whatever filtration system you use. So up until last night we were just using this Top Fin 75, but we only had 3 minnows in here and 3 African cichlids in here. We added more at the time because another one of our tanks, I'll show you later, had fry born in it, and the parents were getting bothered. So I made this mechanical / biofilter here, which is the glass stones, smaller ones you see here, an old lemon juice container, a layer of substrate from the bottom of the tank that I rinsed out really well to get rid of food waste and fish waste, and obviously I killed any beneficial bacteria in there, but you're pushing air through waste and you're going to raise phosphates, ammonia, and nitrite and nitrate again. At the top of it we've put some aqua clear beads, enough that would do a 20 to 50 gallon tank, and from there it exits at the top of the tank. So what the hope here is that it's going to build up beneficial bacteria. So if in the future again we have an incident where we have to clean out our HOB on the back, our hang on the back filtration, I still have a filter going full of beneficial bacteria that should keep the fish happy in the time that the HOB picks up again. This one is maintenance free. I never have to look at it, touch it, anything of the sort. The only thing that I might have to do in the future is add to some of these beads as they ceramic beads as they deteriorate over time. We'll see how that goes. That shouldn't be a big deal, I hope. So those are ways there to not only gain beneficial bacteria faster, but to maintain it as well. Now, since we have fish in the tank already, there's always been the statement not to remove water daily other than your usual weekly water changes while your tank is cycling, which is pretty silly. I can even show you scientific math and evidence on it through a forum that I use, and the guy has done many tests on it. So what happens is that you build beneficial bacteria, and your beneficial bacteria is going to grow to a rate that it can accumulate ammonia and then nitrite and then nitrate. After such a period of time that it's consumed all that food and it's full, ammonia is just going to build up. It's not going to eat more than it can handle, and nothing else is there to do it other than you removing water. So if you do 10% to 25% water changes daily, you're going to actually reduce the time by 1 day that it takes your tank to cycle as well. So what you're doing here, you're not going to wind up removing beneficial bacteria, you're just going to wind up removing harmful matters for the fish. And what it does is, if you do 50%, you will actually your tank will actually cycle 2 days faster. Because ammonia is not, and nitrate are not killing off beneficial bacteria by being an overload of them. Another system we've just started using here is called the green killing machine. This is the only manufactured made in the tank filtration that we use. We just started using this last night because our blue car is here. Recently had fry. They're hiding because I put the box up here. They're so nervous, ninnies. Okay, so what this does is it's a UV sterilizer with a power head on it, and it helps keep your aquarium crystal clear. It kills algae, pathogens, and harmful bacteria. It will reduce the amount of water changes. It's fast and easy to install, and we'll do up to a 50-gallon tank. We're here in a 45-gallon tank. The water last night was a bit yellowish, and tonight it's quite a bit clearer. In fact, you can see through 2 tanks to the wall, which is approximately 17 feet away, I would guess. We did this because it's got very low suction on it, and in the back there where you see the blue is where the water intakes, and here you can see where it outtakes. And with the fry there, you can see on our Fluval C4 we've had to block off the filtration a bit because the fry were getting sucked up in it. So this we found so far is working really good. We weren't getting out of any nitrate or nitrite or ammonia spikes or phosphate either. I was a little concerned about it because you see stuff building up on the screen we've put on the C4. But so far, so good. This is the second biofilter we made for this tank. This tank we haven't had any problems with at all. You can see how far away there is, what, 20 feet or so into my kitchen. And this tank just runs a cheap old Walmart filtration system on it. that I don't bother going to Walmart to buy my filtration needs. The lineup's too long to spend that much time. So I use from my fish store stuff that fits in there. Here is a fluidized bed we made. This was actually the third filtration system we ever made. We're just trying it out. This tank is recycling as well because we fed some frozen food we made at home and it would dissolve too much. It coated our filtration system. We had to wash the entire unit out. Another important thing here is circulation in your tank. I forgot to mention that earlier. You can see how these are moving around. This tank is pretty full up. Running an AquaClear 75 on here, as well as my biofilter, which is ceramic stones, layer substrate, and then some ceramic stones as well, again. And underneath, yeah, see, we are running an air stone with just a Marina air pump for a 50-gallon tank. And I'm having it pass over the rocks just because my cichlids love to dig, but because I'm hoping it's picking up beneficial bacteria, taking it to that glass bar that's covered in beneficial bacteria that goes from one end of my tank to the other in the middle of it, and all of those bubbles are exploding on that beneficial bacteria from the air stone as well as the homemade filter. Forgot to mention this filter here. About it, it's just simply some beads you would use for your kids. Bubbling at the bottom, it is a bit of a fluidized bed that does get beat up once in a while by this plastic pieces floating up here and exploding at the surface. And this tank was recently changed as well, but you can still see it's nice and clear. I hope this will load. Here's our 10-gallon tank here, and these are the hardest. The less water you have, the harder it is to keep it the water levels good, the parameters good. And here we house balloon mollies. That's a guppy there. She looks pretty pregnant to me. We have balloon mollies and guppies in here. There's a baby balloon molly, and we have coolie loaches that are probably hiding out in the boat. So these guys have a pretty big bioload. There's one of the balloon mollies there. And this is actually the first biofilter we made for our home, for any of our tanks. It used to be in the 30-gallon, but we've moved it here. And it's got a fluidized bed and beads that float up, lava lamp style, and bead up and then explode at the top. And it is kind of loud, but the fish hang out by it all the time, and if it does seem to bother them, I'll put some sponge in there to dampen the sound a bit. So these are ways to build yourself beneficial bacteria, and it's a good backup as well for you when your hang on the back filtration system or your main filtration system breaks down on you. They don't have to cost a lot. I mean, the biggest cost in these is the air pump, and oftentimes you can find your friends are giving it away. You can find them at the pawn shops for cheap, and even brand new. You're going to spend, what, 20 bucks maybe on one for a 10-gallon to 20-gallon tank, and it goes up about $5 increments from there per 5 to 10 gallons that you're dealing with. So the main thing here is to build your beneficial bacteria. Again, as I said, this tank was completely clouded last night. I couldn't see those plants in there. Hardly see my fish. And tonight, after one night with the oxygen running in there and building some beneficial bacteria with that filtration system, we've got an almost clear tank once again. So we'll come back in a couple days and see how this new filter is dealing in this tank, and see if we can see any beneficial bacteria built up in it. It is green, so it might be hard to see that. Anyways, take care and happy fishing.